Hey, beautiful people, you're going to love this. I know I do. Direct physical spirit contact and unraveling their hidden messages. Often, when direct contact takes place, it carries a punchy message. It's just about us unraveling that message. As spirit always say, all information is information. So since I dropped this post to introduce this subject at the beginning of the week, that contact has showed up, and in some very beautiful and profoundest of ways. As we often say, the innate has a wonderful sense of humour. Only a week ago today, a very dear friend of mine was on her way over to me for her yearly sit down with spirit. On the way over, her phone rung and she thought to herself, I'll check on that once I arrive at Shane's. She arrived a little earlier. She reached for her phone, and guess what? There was no trace of the call. It was as if it hadn't happened. You gotta love that. That is powerful direct contact, because nowadays all mobile phones, smartphones have a caller ID, and they leave a footprint on the phone to say a call has been received. She heard the phone ringing and ringing. It was as if it went to voicemail. There was no voicemail message left, and there was no caller ID, yet she heard the phone ring. You have got to love that. That is such powerful direct contact. I often say, if spirit want to have a chat with you, they will pick up the phone. In this case, it was literal. Have you experienced that? I would love to know if you have. Have you experienced that? Another powerful one is the knock on the door. Another great friend of mine, many of you will know of him, Matt from Golden Glow Healing, has experienced the knock on the door several times. Actually, it was consistent there for a while ongoing, so it was not just once. The same for us. I have often experienced that in the early hours of the morning. I'm there asleep and I've got up only to discover that there is no one there, yet my suspicion is that someone is. So very powerful. Even this morning, this very morning of recording this video, I had it around 7 a.m. And it woke me up. It actually woke me up. And guess what? I got up, and guess what? There was no one there. Some may say, did you dream it? The thing is, and I thought about this a lot, the thing is, the noise, the knock, wakes me up. So that gives me the sense that that is not an internal noise or sound, it's an external sound, something happening outside of us. And with that said, myself and Tristan were visiting Grandad, and we were sitting at a table beside the window in the front room. And there was a tap on the door. It was more of a tap than a knock. Yeah, I looked at Tristan looked at me, and we both got up at the same time. We went to go and answer the door, which tells me that we both heard it. Dad looked over and smiled, and guess what? We got to the door and no one was there. We both looked at each other to say, what has just happened? Dad said it happens often, and normally during the early hours of the morning. If the knock on the door is a message, what could it be? Food for thought. If a knock on the door is a message, what could it be? Powerful contact. Another direct physical contact is a flash of light. Only last night, whilst I was on a call with a wonderful client of mine, as I was talking, he saw a flash of the light in the doorway. You can see the doorway behind me. He saw a flash of light in the doorway behind me. I love it since we changed the room layout, and now I have that doorway behind me quite often, and I'm intrigued. You know, I'm always intrigued. I looked up, sometimes I feel a presence there behind me. As I've often said, spirit love doorways. So he saw a flash of light in the doorway behind me whilst we were on Skype, and the key there being the doorway. He said the light moved from the doorway to just above my right shoulder. Incredible. He saw it. I didn't. He saw it. Thereafter, we both saw orbs, and he even heard the beating of a drum, just as I was telling him it's time for him to craft a medicine drum. You know, it's like validation, confirmation, reinforcement. You know, that's that working in synergy, working in partnership with the innate and spirit, which absolutely I hold really dear and close to my heart, and are honoured and privileged to do so. So I was there, you know, encouraging him to hold ceremony on the land he lives upon, as it feels ancient and sacred. And there he is hearing this beating of a drum. At this point, we had a fair amount of solid confirmation that was coming through, and that he was able to tangibly confirm that the land was sacred. His guide revealing himself and tied into the history of what he, my client, had discovered in recent times. So there we are. A beautiful little journey into direct physical contact. The other is hearing your name being called. My dad often hears his mum when he is down the land. He often looks up and looks across the land, because he's hearing his name being called, as if someone's coming along, and then he recognised that to be his own mum. Beautiful. So there we are. Beautiful little journey into direct physical contact. This evening, come and join me if you feel inspired to, tonight, for my live stream on YouTube at 8 p.m. That's UK time, where we will explore a beautiful tarot insight and energy update. Themes for March into April are purpose, rifts, liberation. Okay, rifts, liberation, deep healing, drifting, and evolution within friendships. Since the drifting, I think there is this happening, drifting and evolution within friendships. And I think some of that is down to karmic contracts being served and met within friendships, within relationships, and within family, bringing about endings and beginnings. Alongside that, soulful relationships appearing rooted in growth, empowerment and awakening. This spring feels huge, and people having dynamic experiences and spirit contact. Continued transparency. We're seeing continued transparency, and we're seeing deeper truth, and a resurgence of the arts. Going to be really interesting exploring that. Got many thoughts around that. And of course, you know, healing is a freaking messy business. It is unpredictable, so we kind of look at some of those top themes there around rifts, liberation, deep healing, drifting and evolution within friendships, karmic contracts served and met. You know, healing is a freaking messy business. At times it can seem like unpredictable, wild and raw, and often requires us to expand beyond what we think is possible, to surrender to the process that often feels like a crumbling or a dismantling and a breaking apart, and with all that we need to lean in and root ourselves to something that we trust, something that is solid, something that is unshakable. We could lean into the earth, to the stories, and to each other, which may show up like, it may look like a need to slow down, a requirement to let go, closing doors and endings to dynamic patterns so that an alignment can take place. Come and join us tonight, and it is an us, Spirit and I, tonight, live on YouTube. And over the next week I will be dropping the 5 signs Spirit want to talk to you. So hope to see you this evening there on YouTube, live at 8 p.m. UK time. Until then, and until next time, keep shining, sending you all so much love.